me if I am not here.
All right, solid.
Gonna hit record. Rap, you can introduce the philosophy teacher if you'd like.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to.
You should. He said, first of all, I was jabbing him about it being history. He's like, no, it's even less specific than that. This is just.
But
I
it
understand.
explains so much as to why his articles go on forever and never really come to a point. And I feel, though, that if you talk about a philosophy professor, I have to ask the question here, Jahred, which is, did you do this because of Danaher?
I would argue that Danaher did it because of me.
No, that's
There
not
it
true.
is.
But
That's what I
okay.
heard. That's what I heard. I heard they were like,
no,
Tanner, who's
I'm-
your idol? He's like, Jared Dell.
No, man, like to plug one of my teammates, I'm like the PS1 graphics version of Danaher.
I wish I could understand how sly that reference was,
I don't
but I
get
don't.
it. I'm so sorry. And for a second, I was like, Bond? No, that can't be Bond.
Oh, whatever. Kev, just say some American product at him. Like,
Yeah, you're the Channing Tatum of this podcast
Yeah.
right now.
Well,
yeah. Take that.
yeah, well, I mean, like, the PlayStation 1, it's got some horrible graphics, man. Like, I'm just like the terrible graphics version of it.
Okay.
The
Got it.
PS one.
Okay.
I get that. Now we're good.
Yeah, bro.
We didn't know what you were talking about because
My
both
bad, my
accent
bad.
and also the way you refer to it. It's a PS1 and not me play one. And like, I don't understand your gibberish, but here's the
Let
thing,
the
Jared.
crowd decide. You all chime in.
I feel like we've been recording this whole time, right? Like, this is his introduction, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome to the show again, Jahred. We're so glad to have you back. It is, we've had a couple days to kind of process everything. You made some picks for Over Under Kevin. We'll reveal the results in a little bit. But what was it like watching the fights with a little bit of added pressure this time?
I actually enjoyed it a lot more, to be honest. I was constantly like thinking about my picks and how it was going, especially in the main event. And yeah, it's that little extra urgency, and you're like, oh, did I pick that one? But yeah, it was an exciting card, man. Straight up,
It was very exciting. So I'm very happy that you were able to watch it. And did it change things when you had a Kiwi in there?
Yeah, definitely. The stakes for that went up. I stopped everything else I was doing. I think pretty much anyone here who does jiu-jitsu or MMA was watching that as well. So it was amazing, man. But yeah, the whole card, like my inner Just Bleed kind of came out.
I'm drinking an edible in celebration of the Adesanya victory. I'm not claiming it because I may or may not have picked against it. But you saw this fight. What happened? I did not see the main card. I saw the undercard, but this is the fight I want to talk about maybe a little bit even first. What was give us the Kiwi Homer version. You get to call it. Normally we would not give this responsibility, but you are the man behind Articulate BJJ, your Plato, if you will, as you write volumes 1 through 3. But I do get it now a little bit. It's like Articulate BJJ. What does it mean? But specifically, give us a rundown what happens with Adesanya.
So, I mean, the striking levels there were ridiculous. Like, everyone knows Izzy has so many angles and shows, but Gastelum actually looked way better than, personally, I thought he was going to come out a little bit more one-dimensional with his striking, but his setups were great. And Izzy even said in the post-fight how he got rocked a little bit in that first round and even a little bit in the second, but then he came back after that, man, and just edge of the seat watching the whole time, man. I was just
He
there's so much damage. Oh my god.
Puffy.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
It's the nicest possible version of what they're going through because their face is swollen from the impact, but he looked puffy.
I'm just glad he didn't get cut, because I thought if there was a cut in that first or second round, it would have made those later rounds way harder for him to show angles. But that was a fight, man. Yeah, it was so good.
Did you think it was the best fight you've seen this year so far?
Oh, I was about to just be like knee jerk easily, but it definitely was. It really, yeah, just the back and forth. I was not anticipating, man.
What were
Definitely.
you most scared of with Kelvin? Because at my party, my buddy Mike Frosto and I were both going for different people. I
Yeah.
was going for Izzy and he was going for Kelvin. And it wasn't like I was going against Kelvin, but we both had moments where everybody was looking at us specifically at different moments of the fight because it's like, ooh, it's really bad for you, Raph. And I was like, hold on, hold on.
Yeah.
And ooh, it's bad for him. Yeah, get him, not me.
Well, isn't Kelvin's 10th planet with you guys, right?
I mean, there's some
Loosely.
discussion on that. And here's the
Oh,
thing:
okay.
I'm not fully 10th planet. The
Yeah.
the guys like to definitely make sure that they know. In fact, they asked me the other day. We just went after wrestling practice right today, and they said,
Yeah.
"All right, Raph, when are you teaching something in the gi?" And I was like, "I don't go to your school." They're like, "I mean, but don't you?" So it's very sweet, and I do appreciate it. But I
Okay.
just don't like to overstay my welcome. So they've come
Yeah.
up with, or I came up with this hashtag, which is 10p for the weekend. Because
Okay. All
that's
right.
10p for life. I'm always like, well, I'm 10p for the weekend. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Um,
I hear you there. All right.
but no, for Kelvin, there's just this element of he is a workhorse. He puts in the
Mm.
time. You definitely can get behind that. Izzy is supposed to be this way better striker, but it did take a round or two for him. That first round, Kelvin won. And it was nerve-wracking because it's like, is he using this to figure out his timing? Because if so, I don't want to take some of those shots that he's
Yeah.
taking in there.
Yeah. Well, and just to go back to your question, I mean, I was actually pretty scared that Calvin was going to be following up there and looking for like an early finish because his hands are so heavy, man. And he was setting his feet up, and I think that was like Izzy was trying to get. And look, my striking knowledge is far more limited than my grappling knowledge. But from what I was watching, I was like trying to get the read when Calvin's feet were planted was just scary. Like every time he was in that space, I was just like, fuck, he could get knocked out, you know?
Yeah. Well, I thought that was intriguing, but of course, the round by round corrections by both of the gentlemen was very,
Mm.
very exciting. There was a moment, though, that I wanted to bring up, and Kev, I thought you might like this. Would you have guessed, though, that Israel would have shot up a triangle in the later rounds, the championship rounds?
No, I mean he's athletic, but I wouldn't have guessed flying. Well, I
Oh.
inferred.
Would you have
excuse
also
me.
guessed that that triangle had a very good start, even if it was jumbly, where you go, could this really end by a submission?
I do think that has to be like one of the first submissions every MMA fighter kind of falls in love with. That's great.
So when that did happen,
But not that I don't claim to have seen it. I just
that's fine. But in the background, in the post presser, Izzy was definitely like using the broken Portuguese version of like, I've got jits. Come on, man. Is there something you're not telling us? Because that was not in your preview, and you claim to know him and be best friends with him, Jahred.
Hey, I'm not best friends with him. But look, I'd listened to something really interesting earlier in the week from Dan Hooker, who trains all the time with Izzy, online, and he was saying that it wouldn't be a bad idea to put your money on the submission. And then when I saw him throw that up, those words were like echoing in my head, and I was like, oh my God, it's gonna happen. No way. And just sitting there like the cold sweat breaking out on my hands. But I mean, look, he's no slouch. He's no slouch when it comes to grappling, bro. Not at all. He trains with some really, really high level guys at City. So I was not surprised by that at all.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And he definitely made some notes. He said that he saw, I believe, what he was referring to as an anaconda choke at some point, and said he saw it, but then knew if he went for it and just searched for it, he was going to get yelled at. And I instantly related to that myself because I said, yeah, that sounds like some dumb shit I would do too. And my coaches would be like, what the fuck are you doing? You're going to win. And
Yeah.
that fight was compelling for so many reasons, but maybe none more than just this simple fact, which is you had two individuals who had two very different and compelling narratives at all costs. And later, Dana White made the argument And he goes, I know you dummies don't like talking about, who is going to win for an interim titles, but, it does change things because those guys definitely were fighting as if something was at stake. Do you agree with that?
Well, I agree with the fact that when you're fighting, there's always something at stake, i.e. your health
that is fair.
And a paycheck.
Fuck you, dummy. That was my point.
But yeah, I see what Dana means, but like the interim thing, like you both of these fights could have been title fights, and you've got two champions in those divisions who are injured or in having a break, let's call it that. And I don't know, it's just confusing. I can see why, especially the journalists live at the event want to ask him about that, but they can't.
Okay. Well, I mean, it was interesting to hear Dana backstage and Izzy backstage telling their accounts. And, Izzy was definitely saying, he had a little guillotine grip too, and he's got some jits and all that sort of stuff. The other thing that was, I think, quoted backstage is now they're looking to do the Bobby Knuckles and Izzy fight near you guys. But did you hear the split in how they wanted to do it?
They were talking about putting it in Oz, right?
So Dana comes out and goes, yeah, I put my fucking guys on that one. That's their job, their homework tonight, which is go find us a place in Australia. And Izzy came out and goes, no, it's going to be where y'all are at. Yeah. So he was trying to bring it to y'all. And I immediately thought, like, what's the luck that we would have a guest who just happens to live there and might have a vested stake in that?
Man, I'll tell you what, from how UFC Auckland was when they last came here, that was amazing, man. If it came here, that would be next level. Especially for a title fight like that, that would be crazy.
Can you make your pitch now as to why they should do it with you and not anywhere else?
Well, it's kind of hard to argue that from like a numbers point, like the Australian arenas can hold more, but in terms of the diehard fans, they're going to absolutely kill it here. Like, seeing a Kiwi guy fighting for the title here, I think the crowd will love that. They'll eat that up.
Kev, do you hear the philosopher in this weighing both of the options in a tired and painstaking way when I'm just like, just make the reason why we should go to you first? And he's like, well, to be fair, there's a lot of good places in this world. Sorry, I can name 15 other ones.
A little lost. I was just catching up on some Thomas Friedman, but I'll click back in. There was some indicators outside of that Adesanya, like, was this, okay, I guess here's my question. Was this a decisive, everybody's good, Adesanya definitely won the fight, or like, because it wasn't a KO, it was a decision, so that was my, but I didn't hear any questioning.
No.
I think it was pretty decisive in that last round when he dropped them 3 times.
Yeah. There was a scorecard, I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, where it was 48-46. And I thought those were the scorecards. I thought it was unanimous with all 3 judges going 48-46, which begs some math questions, but I felt that Izzy won it. And Kelvin, especially in that last round, it was close, and Israel really came through in that last round. But man, it was a great fight, and it's a lot of what you could wish for in that. Now, there are some people, and I will tell you this right now, Kevin, who are trying to make the argument that Max Holloway and Dustin Porier was a much closer fight, which we need to put the kibosh on that right now because it was a good fight, but Dustin Porier won that fight.
Yeah. I think I saw one response from Eric Uresk and from Phuket Top Team, and he was saying like the power and the significance of the strikes there really need to be taken into consideration. And yeah, Dustin knocked the snot out of Max.
And I want to be super clear. I did see the lovely exchange afterwards where Dustin the Diamond Poirier was being very respectful of Max Holloway and saying, hey, it takes the best to be the best. I love you. I want to be super clear, Jahred. That's not how I feel about how our matchup went with over-under Kevin. There is zero affection in the outcome.
No love lost there, baby. No love lost there.
I just want it to be so clear. I don't feel that way. But I did enjoy seeing it in the cage. Those two are warriors, and even Porier, who cracks me up, he's like, sorry I talked shit yesterday. And there's like, this is war. This is a great exchange for just a moment of purity between two people that have been doing this a while. Max Holloway jumps up in weight class, looks good, goes punch for punch with Diamond, loses to Dustin the Diamond Porier. New champion. I'm not using the word interim, though. I can't wait. Raph, are you back?
Yeah,
you make a noise.
Yeah.
Cool.
But
during these fights, can I tell you guys something that we're having real quick?
Sure.
Jeff Van Gundy on the NBA broadcast.
Oh, God.
They did an announcement where Mark was doing he was like, they've got the UFC fights tonight. Interim titles. And then it was like, what's an interim title? And then he like shat on interim titles for, I don't know, 10 minutes. Just wanted to let y'all know.
Well, listen, it's not quite like the NBA where they give an interim title there. So I get it. I understand as sports fans. It's like win, lose. Well, sometimes the guy gets injured. But win, lose. Well, okay, shut the fuck up. We don't like doing it, but Dana loves doing it. So Dana's the one that's going to sit there and fight with you guys. I can tell you this much. Now they're saying the fight that's going to happen, everybody. And again, if Dana says it, you can take it to the bank on Monday and then regret it on Tuesday, which is that Khabib and Dustin Porier is the fight to make. And they were even asking this, saying, with respect to our good friend Max Holloway and the performance he did do tonight, would it be fair to do another rematch on that one? And Porier was like, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind fighting him again. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen at some point. But doesn't this title, the fact that it's this interim title, mean we have to unify this son of a bitch kind of a feel? And to me, I say, yeah, 100%. Let's just do it. But I'll also admit this. And again, it's the type of statement that they could use for me later in a future podcast. But I don't see this Dustin Poirier beating Khabib. And I'm actually, I'm a little scared for him because, I like Dustin Poirier. And don't get me wrong, Max was good, but you could tell he wasn't in the right weight class. Even though they said he would fight better in that weight class, he still looked like his punches didn't have the same effect as they would at that weight. Does anybody else feel the same way?
Stop fat shaming him.
Listen, you know what the dumb part is when they said it, they were the ones to be like, oh, this is supposed to be the real weight class. He's, no, never mind. He should stay at 145.
Not yet, at least. I reckon it could be, but he needs another year or two just to get into that weight class comfortably. But just to go back to what you're saying, we didn't see Holloway wrestle offensively against Dustin, so we don't know what his wrestling defense is like. But you better be on top of that if you're going against Khabib,
I have multiple reservations about Khabib's bullshit, but I'm going with Dustin the Diamond Porier. I'm riding it hard. I'm going to even get that one in Vegas. There's going to be an underdog situation.
Ooh.
I just don't think he's going to get held down, and we don't know if what people can. Khabib holds everyone down.
I would love to see that storyline happen. I'd love to see that. But yeah, how many times have we seen Khabib kind of derail that?
Shut up. Well, can Adesanya fight him? How close are they in weight class?
No. I think that's quite a difference, eh? Lightweight and middleweight. How much is between that?
Well, and philosophical question. Let me just throw this at you. Why do we have to just stick with two fighters? Why can't we venture off track into a 3-fighter system like WrestleMania, which we've already talked about, but there's no reason let's let Max Holloway in too. Max Holloway, Dustin Porier, Khabib.
How about those 5-man fights they're doing at the moment in Russia or whatever, bro?
Perfect.
On obstacle courses.
Perfect.
Well, the dumb part is I feel like the thing that I got worried about yesterday with Max was I was just like, oh God, don't hit him straight in the CT. God, please let him be okay. And then when Max talks, and we discussed this briefly the other day, we're not quite sure if his voice tells us he's okay. Because that voice is a little broken where they're just like, Max, how you doing? He's like, oh, man, I'm okay. I'm fine. And I was like, is that good or bad? Are you okay or not?
Yeah, man, he took a lot of damage. Yeah, I don't know how much longer he can keep doing that, man.
Here's the good news. Dana definitely put a stop to it. And when he went out to go talk to everybody at Press Row, he did say, oh, yeah, we sent that guy to the hospital. Thank God.
Don't they all go to the hospital after a fight?
I was just about to say, don't you have to really pass a physical not to go to the hospital? Because even 8 out of 10 KOs end with a wrist that needs to be x-rayed. So there's, UFC. They do the bare minimum though, I think is the point, Jahred. And it's we took him to the hospital. We didn't just leave him. We could have just left him. It's kind of what they're saying.
We had somebody at our party where I was just expressing my concerns as to, I said, I'm going for Holloway. I just don't know where he's at physically. And that scares me more than anything. And they're like, well, he beat Brian Ortega and he was fine. I go, yeah, that still doesn't make me feel great. And I really want to feel better about him fighting in a sense that I get excited without concerned. And then I think sometimes the concern outweighs the excited until he gets on the train and just goes hey, everybody aboard the Blast Express. And you're like, oh, and he's so happy about it too. Jesus.
That your impressions killing me, man. It's getting there. It's good.
It's got some work to be done, and I feel strongly about it as well. But okay, Kev. So those were the two main big fights. I'm trying to think of what else. Dana was on a kick. Did you have any problems ordering the fights?
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking over to Jahred on this one.
Yeah.
Oh. No, I didn't have any. I just ordered them through the website and then just went onto the app and watched like I thought most logical people do.
Yeah, I don't know that there was necessarily.
There's a lot of New Zealand condescension. It's we have a computer literacy rate of 140%. We exceed the threshold.
Jesus.
Well, I had no issues, but I understand that he's bringing up issues. But is that a user-based problem, or is it actually a problem with the system?
Well, you have to get the app on your television if you want to order it through your television. Meaning a lot of people were like, shit, how do I get ESPN Plus on my whatever cable thing and then Roku thing? Because the normal system, and it's a little function of just change. People have always been able to just click on their remote and been like, yeah, here's my code. Let's roll. Shows up on the cable.
Can I try to explain this to Jahred?
You can try. He just seems already. Do we have to explain the concept of telecommunication companies?
Maybe, but I don't know that he's thinking about it in the right way.
Look, I had to sign up on yesterday. I had to create an account on Fight Pass. I had to then pay for the pay-per-view and then open the app, and I had no issues. So, yes, you can make it more user-friendly, all going through one thing, but in terms of user experience versus just actually watching, I had no issues watching it once it was on.
Let me bring up two things here. Number one, I don't know if you guys got to see the lovely commercials with Dana White trying to tell you about the beautiful deal you could get, but this is essentially what it sounded like.
God.
And he is screaming at you as this promo is happening, but it's definitely him going hey, fight fans, if you guys want to order UFC 236, and who fucking doesn't, then here's what you got to do. First, go to ESPNplus.com, or if that's a website, I don't really know. Then pay us for this pay-per-view, and for just $30 more, you get 9 months of fighting. exciting. Plus, if you get 15 Sonic the Hedgehog coins, take that into your local bank, come back this way, you can also get 1 free pay-per-view, and that's it. You fucking dummies. I'm still not giving you other free shit. It's a great deal for true fight fans.
Oh man, yeah. I get it. I totally see what the issue is. I didn't have it.
Okay, that's fine. But he was in the place where Kev, and I know you read Dana White body language as well as I do, which is when he went out there and they asked him, they're like, hey, Dana, we saw some people had some problems, signing on. Dana took it in a very conciliatory way and said, yeah, we'll get better. We're working on it, which is code for you fucked up and you know it.
Which is also code for Dana doesn't fully understand what's different. It's like, I've never bought one.
Yeah.
I'm always there. And so he's like, what again? Yeah. And he really doesn't want to talk about it when he lashes out. If it was like, hey, what do you say to pay-per-view buyers? He's like, they're fucking stupid, don't care, find a new product to watch. then we know he gets it. The fact that he was like, yeah, kind of means he is semi like, yeah, I do love ordering things with my remote. Like, everybody's not wrong. So.
Okay. Well, I want to bring up 2 things here. And one, this is, Jahred, how you can truly understand what we're talking about here. This isn't just an American thing. I want you to put yourself in the place of a man who might just have a tattoo or body paint that yells, just bleed. Do you think the just bleed guy has enough time to not only download the app, but figure out the way to broadcast it to his television, or figure out if the television is smart enough to have an app that he can do it, or get one of his PS3s or his Apple TV? No, he just wants to bleed, and he just wants to watch his UFC.
He has a tattoo that says it. All right, he was clear.
Hey, man, in my defense, I was busy writing Just Bleed on my chest while I was watching it.
I really hope it was the opposite way, too, and that it just reads like Blood Bridget. That would make me very happy. Like, you just didn't look in a mirror the whole time. So anyway, so those are kind of the annoyances, but I do want to bring this up because I sent this over to Kevin, and this is something that I think is important to note. And it sounds like it's not going to have anything to do with it, but I promise you it will. Mm-hmm. Disney Plus announced that it's going to go on sale for $7 a month, essentially $6.99 if you would. People in the actual auditorium where they announced this gasped. Now, what does this have to do with any of you guys? Give me a second. The reason why they made that price point so low is because they want 60 to 80 million people, okay, to have that. In the future, they are looking to bunch that with their ownership stake in Hulu as well as ESPN Plus. So if you thought that Dana trying to sell you before with just the magic Sonic coins was going to be a commercial, just wait until Dana goes, hey, if you like Hulu and you like, what's the other one? Is it SoundCloud? I don't know what the fuck. Just like buy a whole bunch of shit and you get something. I don't know what it is. My people tell me it's good. Wait for that. Now, here's where the other thing gets interesting, because they will bundle, I guess, in the future, Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. But they were saying that they're looking to have, and I sent this over to Kevin, but they're looking to have a high amount of people before they become profitable using ESPN. And I think their desired hit that they want is they want their, like, ESPN platform to be in like the millions of people, if you would. And ESPN Plus, when it made its debut with the UFC, only signed up about 300,000 people. So we've got an uphill climb to go before the UFC is truly profitable with ESPN, is my thought, if they're trying to get all those.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just don't understand streaming platforms. You know, we're dealing with guys who know fights and they know pay-per-view, but they don't know about streaming.
Well, here's
with numbers like that predicted. That's ridiculous.
Well, then here's some background information, and I'm not sure how much people are in the know on this one, but Dana did admit that part of the reason why it did go exclusive and they did extend their deals with ESPN Plus is apparently pay-per-view came back with a deal that they were not satisfied with. And that's when it all rushed together. So if it seemed like it was rushed, that's the reason why.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that was important information for you guys to know, because it's a weird thing for me when I'm looking and seeing them talk about Disney Plus and I go, why is the UFC and ESPN being mentioned?
Yeah, man. These numbers are hurting my head, bro. I just want to bleed.
It's written on his chest. I want to give some honorable mentions out for some undercard performances. These honorable mentions brought to you. What the hell are you two doing? These undercard awards brought to you by what you should be wearing under your gi. NorthSouthJujitsu.com. Jiu-Jitsu engineered for hygiene, comfort, and durability. Head on over to NorthSouthJujitsu.com. Free shipping on orders over $80. And you got to get the Navy undercarriage stuff. Just trust me. Navy looks better.
Do they ship to New Zealand?
Absolutely. Just not for quite the same special. But you can get their product anywhere.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Have you tried North South? Have you tried, like, they have the hip grips in them?
No, I haven't. Need to try it out. Yeah.
Big fan. And I'm a girthy hipped individual. I'm just saying, as a fellow, to articulate hips would be not a bad website for me.
Yeah.
North South Jiu-Jitsu. As I try and convince Jahred to change his underwear that he trades in. Undercard performance number 1, Matt Frivola, who really suffered through some elbows from Jalen Turner, had Matt Arroyo in his corner, if you remember Raph from one of my favorite Tough seasons way back. Tough when I was in college. Pantoja gets just a brutal TKO. But my favorite performance, not Boston Salmon, who lost to Khalid Taha, but Max Griffin. So Max Griffin beats Zaleem and Medev, and they just like beat the shit out of each other for 3 rounds, and then goes to try and like boast that he feels fine and jump onto the cage and can barely get up. He like gasps, throws his leg over, looks like he's about to fall. It was, to me, the undercard performance of the night.
Damn.
Guess who also won? Montel Jackson, rubbing it in your face. Take that. Poliana Botelho taking down the Mueller report. There was a lot of victories to be shared. You and I both sadly missed out on OSP.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
That was a bummer.
Yeah.
Just especially, yeah. I saw the submission. I was like, oh, damn it. It didn't go the way I thought it would.
Yeah, I did not see that coming, actually. I didn't see Krylov submitting him. On those guillotine attempts, though, I was like, man, I hope he Von Flews him. Yeah.
You have to wonder if people were like strategizing for it, too. It's like, I'm going to try and reverse his Von Flute. I don't know. Just obviously what I would do. And
yeah,
we're still waiting for Raph, who's circling the runway. Oh, cool. I was going to say, after I want to talk about this, but we have one more topic I feel like I should either ask you all about as a side segment, but are there any more fights we need to chat about before we get to talk about who's doing an American Shoey?
Let's move on. I've got my beers ready, bro.
Yes.
Well, okay. Well, don't reveal any results yet, newbie. I just want to make sure that we go down. I'll take a quick look at the results again. Roundtree, I know you mentioned that. Oh, by the way, Alan Joban. Okay. Two notes on this one. I did want to mention that was a rough fight. It wasn't very exciting. And Joban definitely seemed very angry. And I understand what it's like if you have to lose a decision. But I really hope he watches that fight again and understands that, like, I don't know, man, it's a tough one. If you had thrown more offense instead of just kind of controlling the octagon, I would understand.
I think it was also a loose interpretation of control.
Mm-hmm. So there was that. I would give you guys the opportunity to go check out Alexandre Pantoja, who had a really, really good performance against Wilson Reis. And I mean, in the earlier parts of the night, definitely go check out Brandon Davis made quick with Randy Costa. I'll tell you guys this much. Montel Jackson and Andre Suckermath, also pretty fun. Like, this card was better than it should have been. Or I think that we enjoyed it. You know, like, I think the majority of fight fans, you got your money's worth. Now, Jahred, I'm going to ask you, if you were to pay all over again, how much would you have paid for this pay-per-view?
For the main card alone, man, we pay what are we paying here? Like $69 NZ. So man, yeah, I'd happily pay that $70 New Zealand again. It was great, man. It was great.
Okay. Kev, are you ready to reveal some results?
Yes, I am, in a John Lockean like way. Just proud. We came in here equal, but the free market decides. It's about proud.
Oh yes.
Wow.
Very good. Very good.
Okay, well, let's get to it, Kev.
I
Who won?
stamped that New Zealand ass 8-5. I just discarded him like a banana peel. I was like, don't need kiwi, not for this almond butter smoothie, and you can quote me on that. Crushed him.
Yeah, I was resigned after like maybe 3 fights in. I was like, this ain't gonna go my way.
I crushed him in the undercards. That's where I really found Botelho Botelho, Max Griffin, who crawled his way to victory celebration.
By the way, was the funniest shit in the world.
Bilal Muhammad, who definitely was like, this fight's dedicated to my brother. And Vicky and I both looked at each other. We're like, who's in customs? Like, where's Bilal's brother? I know we shouldn't have, but it's our fault. On the podcast, we've been joking, but he was like, I'll be right back. And it was like, did they not let everybody? It's not a good situation. But that was not what he said. So, Montel Jackson. And I would like to point out Roundtree won, and you had that fight would be a draw.
That was my draw fight. Yeah, that was a bad call, but he came out looking so good, man.
To your point,
I'm not even that.
It was a decision, so it wasn't as conclusive as you'd like it to be.
But this is where, when we suggest, like, are you really betting 0-0, and we try to give you the warning shots, take heed, Verbal Tap fans.
Don't make the same mistake.
So, okay, remind the fans, what do you have to do now?
So I'm doing a shoey, right, with some cheese, and it's going to be on a jandal.
Awesome. And, wherever you post your articulate BJJ videos, I guess if you don't want to do it on that, I don't know. I'm not forcing you to do it on brand. As long as you tag ours is really all we're asking. Submit it to Verbal Tap. You can always just submit it to Rap. He can post.
Like, why did you put the processed cheese in this bet? Like,
I
could understand the American pot, right?
Thank you. I was like, what's more American than that? We put it on apple pie. We're going to put it on our shoey.
It's just, like, I don't understand. Like, if people see this without the setup, and I don't want you to say much more than, over under Kevin, but when people see this will reflect on this show as well.
Here's hoping. Like, if we do anything else, how proud would we be? It's like, Verbal Tap and Articulate BJJ are going to be on Ellen this afternoon talking about what? The American shoey and where it came from? And that Rap's still a hater? But this is Jahred and Kevin, who now do their own podcast called Rap Can Suck It. The American shoey's a great idea.
I just want to point out that in the past, when I've done one of these writer versus fighter concepts, we left it open to interpretation, where me versus Tim Kennedy, and Tim Kennedy lost, and he had to do ninja shit. And that meant that he came back and just got a blade, because he has them, and took a sword and basically cut up a piñata and everything like a watermelon around him. That's the kind of ingenuity I'm looking for on this show.
Once a week, I think about him waterboarding himself at a barbecue.
Dude, just to remind us.
Jesus.
Once a week, I think about it.
It's just there.
Well, Jahred, what can we have you say to people? Like, what did you learn from this process?
Don't call a draw in a light heavyweight fight.
It's not bad.
No, the whole thing's been fun, man. I like to think that some of my picks towards the main card were all right. By the Max Holloway one, I did pretty good. But yeah, you can't just. I wanted to see Boston Salmon win, just on the name alone, and I think that tells you a lot about my picks. Just going on the name alone, not always the best idea.
I mean, what else do we have to go on here? Knowledge, watching the fights, being aware of their fight records, historical patterns. Those are all things that scientists do. And that's elitist, okay? And we're not an elitist podcast here.
Though, can we do a bonus question now that he knows his fate and what to submit, but just as a grappling insider?
Please.
I haven't discussed this with you at all, nor did I prep you like the almost professional journalist I am. Keenan's leaving ATOS.
Oh, man, yeah, I've been following this.
What do you got? What do you know? All I saw was that Flow Grappling had the exclusive rights, and I was like, well, I haven't seen enough then. I haven't seen a video. I haven't seen a question. Keenan asked to leave after a blow-up. You know more than I do, Raph. You know even more than definitely I do. What do you all know?
Yeah, well, look, all I know is that Flow's not really going to give you the best coverage on that. I would be interested to be on a fly on the wall there and see, just to know what had happened. But yeah, it was I didn't expect it, yeah, he does a lot of his own stuff, but yeah, I think I saw some stuff on Reddit about it, just because I was interested in seeing what other people had to say, but I don't know, you can't really credit what a lot of Reddit have to say.
You can't? Are you sure you're looking at the same internet I'm looking at?
What else are we supposed to quote? It's like, this isn't going to be an us.
Because here's the best part about the very vague exclusive that Flo was claiming on this one. So when someone says they have an exclusive in journalism, I hope that I can go to that source and really find out the who, what, where, when, why.
I'm headed to that
This
Reddit.
was... Kev, this was as vague as possible, which was exclusive. Keenan leaves ATOS. And I go, okay, well, what does the article say? Keenan leaves ATOS. Mm-hmm. Possibly this was a long time coming, Keenan says. And, okay, well, was that the exclusive? Because, I mean, Keenan just said he's not going to go there anymore. And all of a sudden we're just like, yep.
He was already a huge person when he joined the gym. So to me, it doesn't look. We've all been at this long enough to know nothing should surprise us. But it just
here's
would
the
surprise
best
me
part,
if it was success driven. It's like he was already a star before he joined the gym.
Well, the reason why it being so vague is problematic is everybody started with the you could see this coming, and it was like I didn't, and they're like, the signs were there because Keenan and ADCC and Wait and obviously Galvo, and him.
Can I quote some things on Reddit? Because I don't hate this theory.
Yeah, go for it.
Maybe he's been skipping church days, didn't show up to weekly Bible study, and then from Fantastic Block, word is Galvo showed up at his house with a Bible and Keenan pretended not to be home. I've seen that happen to people before. I have seen this happen. So,
guys, it bugs me to a certain sense that people are ascribing what they think happened, and I think that's in due part to how vague this. There's not much more that we know until Keenan speaks. So when people have been speculating, and I've gotten notes being like, "Raph, what do you know?" And I was like, "I don't know, Dick." I'm waiting to hear from Keenan himself or Galvo or somebody involved in the proceedings, because I would say this, if it did come down to really ADCC, everybody's trying to do the same weight classes, I think that's kind of really sad that is what would break that down. Is it possible? Sure, it's within the realm of possibility. Anything's possible in jiu-jitsu. But it makes me personally feel sad to see that that's what it would break down to. There's an allusion in the article, if you will call it that it basically says that it was leading up to this. There was a lot of stuff aside from that. So could it be that Keenan's doing too much Keenan online? Was it he showing up all the time? Was he basically looking to do his own thing anyway and wanted to branch out and make his own gym? These are all things that we just don't know because the vagueness of it.
The one thing that I do know is that Keenan doesn't really close out with his teammates. And I know that's something that at ATOS they're quite strong about. So I don't know. That's just a factor. I don't think that that's got a sole reason for it.
I don't know, man, but I loved seeing people speculate on the internet because they're just that bored.
Well, I want to add a few. I've got a few more for you. This is Zeno Strikes Back. I'm happy to open a spot here in Illinois with you, Keenan. So these are cute. This is like in the golden age of social media before we knew it was embarrassing. We'd be like, got broken up with, and then some guy would be like, this guy's crazy. Call me. Like, let's go. I like these. Because there's somebody else that's like, Keenan, you can come train at my gym. Look, calm down, Team Shred. He's going to need a few days to figure out who Keenan is before he's ready to just hop into someone else's gym.
Yeah.
Ooh, but you know what, though? Kev, this is a great idea. And this is something I'm going to do on Grappling Hour. I'm going to send in a prompt, which is, give us your best pitch as to why Keenan should come to your school.
Oh, I like that.
Because everybody was already starting to pitch him. And some people were like, oh, well, he's going to Danaher, so whatever, no big deal. So I'm just saying, like, for those people in bumfuck Idaho, this is your chance. Tell us why Keenan should come to your school. And guess what? Since Keenan's not going to give us an answer as to what is happening, that will then become fact.
This summer on the Black Belt Bachelor, Keenan will face off with 15 lonely gym owners.
Kev, it's so good that I really, I did see The Bachelor in my head, but I could really make up a really shitty graphic real quick just to make that dream come true on Grappling Hour.
You can put, the Hibaros. Everybody's just, waiting. Cyborg's out in Miami, sign with South Beach.
He's got a couple of roses especially to hand out.
The weather's
especially
great.
When it's like, well, with Worlds right around the corner, who could Keenan find who to settle with?
Danaher's right there. Hey.
Yeah, this is going to crush. I know exactly what I'm doing instead of watching you guys' lame Game of Thrones nerd shit. So, yeah, that's what I'll be doing.
And I have nothing else. That was it. But a pleasure doing business with you, Jahred.
Thank you, sir. I'm looking forward to doing a shoey.
Me too.
American style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll send you guys that video, and then we can put it up in the appropriate places.
People aren't going to use the word to describe this the way they should. You're a pioneer. You're a pioneer.
Very clear. There is no available platform in which this is appropriate. So I appreciate your offer, and we will take you up on it. But when you say that it's the appropriate
I mean, every platform. Everyone needs to see this.
Raph will be waiting on the video.
Yeah, no, we're not. I'm just sitting here with bated breath, and now we know you're on, lovely break from university.
High school.
Whatever. I love the fact that you call it a holiday.
Harder.
And I'm always like, I'm just on vacation. And you're just like, oh, I'm on holiday. And it's like, you're going to have a grapple too.
And he was condescending about America. Solidly.
Yeah.
He goes, we take breaks quite a bit differently than you do there in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the way he said States and let it roll off. It was like,
yeah, no.
It was kind of the same way you guys rolled off on reading.
I want to point this out
Reading
because
a book.
No, you're the one that was basically just trying to put down our audience, and it's like, hey, we do that enough ourselves. Thank you.
I
just want to point this out.
Defense. And if you want to know what he's referencing, listen to the last podcast where we guessed and argued about literacy. More than you'd expect. If you think we did it
Jahred,
a lot, we did it more than that.
Jahred, can you tell us where we can find your stuff, sir?
Yes, sir. You can find me on articulatebjj.com. That's mainly where I'll do my writing, gear reviews, videos, and then you can find us on Facebook, ArticulateBJJ, and Instagram at ArticulateBJJ.
Now, is there a rumor you might be freelancing for somebody else soon?
I freelance kind of regularly for quite a few people. I've done some stuff for Jiu-Jitsu Brotherhood. I'm doing some stuff for Grappler's Planet. But yeah, a couple of things in the works that we're still confirming. Yeah.
Okay. I guess we'll look out for that or not.
Listen in on
Considering
the
all of us
beautiful.
Americans don't read, so what's the point of even looking for that information?
Just start one called the Beautiful
but
Accent
don't worry, guys.
Podcast. It'll be better. The Beautiful Accent Podcast. You can just.
I'm gonna put that up next to the American Kiwi Shui podcast.
Yeah, please do. The American Kiwi Shui podcast is actually gonna do really well because there's gonna be a dumb bass that's like, Shui, I'm in. And you know what?
America, double in.
All I'm gonna do on that one is just review different beers through different jandals all day.
Just my own stomach.
I'm not listening to that podcast.
Yeah. Just mate, this one's about a 9 out of 10.
Really crush the flavor. Really crush that rubber.
Jahred, can I say this without any facetiousness to it, which is you have been somebody that we've kept our eye on, and you've been doing such incredible work, and I know that your words are now really starting to gain traction in big ways, but I really do think what you're doing is fun and smart and breaks down the sport in such a really honest way that is hard to find because most people like to still lie about how they train. So for you to strike that really thoughtful consideration into your own explorations, I thought, we wanted you to come on the show to talk, obviously, the fights. And obviously it worked out that we had a fellow Kiwi on there. But more than that, I really think it was a great opportunity for hopefully our fans to go and read some of your stuff as well.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, I really appreciate that. We're part of a sport and a martial art that a lot of people still kind of have some real strange ideas about, and you have to wrestle with those every day. So I don't know. I just pardon the pun, but
I got it. I was literally just sitting there being like, getting a paper mache set of words with them on, and be like, "Come here and wrestle me, words."
But yeah, I think it's just it's part of my process, and I just enjoy writing about it. And I'm just glad people enjoy reading it. Yeah,
it's very good stuff. Kev, do you have any departing words to the loser of Over Under, Kevin?
Thank you for your enthusiasm, and like a true New Zealander, thank you for continuing your most honored habit of losing in grace.
And thank you for giving me an excuse to drink.
Hey, there's articulatebjj.com is the website. Thank you for swinging by the podcast a few times now, Jahred.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is... Please note, the new number is...